bin dann auf dem schnellsten Weg erstmal nach Berlin zurückgekehrt. Noch 10 Tage in Berlin geblieben. Und ja, dann war es toll. Die Kirchenleitung wurde mir gesagt, warten Sie erstmal ab, das kann ja nicht lange dauern. Die Westmächte werden sicher protestieren und dann müssen die Grenzen wieder geöffnet werden. Dass sich die Grenzen öffnen, und zwar schon 2 Jahre vor 1989. Und ich selbst konnte das nicht glauben, aber ich habe es dann erlebt.
It says that he was living in East Germany, and his sister who lived with him until she was able and married a man in West Germany. And she recalls that of her memories of East Germany, that walking down the streets, she would see people taking pictures of her video footage and interpreting.
What types of lessons should my students and your daughter and her friends consider about the divided Berlin and its reunification?
When I was in the age that you are now, I was living in a condition which was still very much influenced and characterized by the fact that there was no peace in Europe. You have to understand that Cold War, there's the word war. This was not only cold, but there was a situation where rockets in the east were pointing at the west, and rockets in the west were pointing at the east, and we were right in the middle. If it would have come to a war, everything would have been on German territory, Germany would have been eliminated. And I think one of the lessons, I mean, we hear now from witnesses, time witnesses, a lot of interesting momentums of this time. But one thing which I find very important to be aware of is the privilege that today you are growing up in a peaceful situation where it is hard to imagine another war in Europe. But as somebody said, it's only 50 years ago that this happened. No, it's only 20 years ago that it happened, that a situation was introduced to Europe which is now, from my point of view, guaranteeing a very peaceful situation. Until 20 years ago, we had Cold War, and this was a very unpeaceful situation. There was always a chance for a tremendous conflict. This is a privilege which you have to be aware of. And if you are learning about the war, and there are so many stories, dramatic stories, there's also tragedies connected with many tragedies. There are also funny stories. I mean, I could tell you stories maybe later on. You can laugh forever. But for me, the essential thing is that with the fall of the wall, this is the introduction of peace in Europe.
It was a very lively thing. It was a city where many things happened for the first time. Berlin was even in these days, a melting pot of people from all over the world. It was already during their isolated time, a city which was interesting for people because they were the Allies, and the Allies, the Americans, English, and French people made it international. We were an island, but an attractive. People's personality can change the world. I think that it is not only destiny that makes things change. There was a person named, for me, in my opinion, named George, and with this name is such a level things that became different. First in Russia, but he was the political person who changed the world. Because of the Cold War became a little bit warmer, and after some time there was no war anymore. And I think we have to thank this development that we now live in the city of Berlin.
Amazingly, the East Berlin radio station was in West Berlin. The Haus des Rundfunks, the radio building in West Berlin, right across the radio tower in Charlottenburg, that building belonged to the Soviets. And the Soviets operated their first East German radio out of a building in West Berlin, amazingly. And of course, they tried to have their propaganda, and Rias had their way of advertising the free world, free society, open society. And a very important means was political cabaret. And this one radio show, Die Insulaner, the Islanders, was practically something everyone, not only in West Berlin, but in the entire city, listened to. And you would know the sequence of that radio show was always the same. You know, there was always a Soviet educational officer speaking to the communists in East Berlin. And of course, they would ridicule that. And there were always two elderly ladies meeting on Kurfürstendamm and sort of commenting the West Berlin developments. And it was done in such a obviously popular method that this would unite young and old. When I probably was 10 years old when I heard that for the first time, and practically did listen to that radio show as long as it did exist. And my grandpa would just as much sit in front of the radio to listen to that radio show. And it was broadcasted by Rias, by the radio in the American sector. And the radio in the American sector was also widely heard in East Germany. So really it did have a tremendous impact on people on both sides of the wall, this kind of propaganda before the wall, and of course also after the wall. And in describing East Germany, you would even say there are areas who couldn't see West German TV. These areas were called Tal der Ahnungslosen, whatever that is in English. Is someone here to the valley of those who of the uninformed, yeah. And because they couldn't see West German TV, but practically everyone else. I had another incident. My wife and I visited the family in Cottbus, and I wanted, something was going on in the Western world, and just before getting into the car, driving out, had seen the West German TV program and how they would comment the same thing. So I said to my relatives, could we just see how the TDR TV will comment the same thing? And they said, oh, which channel is TDR1? We normally look at ZDF. So see, a tremendous impact for the East also. And that made it so difficult if Frau Eden had to tell the people, the Freie Deutsche Jugend or the Junge Pioniere, how bad capitalism is, if they also West TV, and of course they didn't only see unemployed people or exploited people. So yes, TV and radio are big means of propaganda also from the Western side.
Thank you.